one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Kennedy.
Here.
Counsel Leahy.
Here.
Counsel Leary.
Here.
Counsel Mercia.
Here.
Counsel Milonazo.
Here.
Counsel Rourke.
Here.
Counsel Samaras.
Here.
Counsel Belanger. Here. Counsel Elliott.
Here.
9 present.
Council Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence in dock and chamber for Yvonne Bozak, born in Lowell. Yvonne graduated from St. Louis Academy and attended the University of Massachusetts Lowell, where she earned her bachelor's degree in poli-science with a minor in history. Yvonne went on to receive her associate's degree in criminal justice from Northern Essex later in her life. Yvonne had held several positions throughout her life, including Deputy Sheriff of Middlesex County, Union Organizer, President and Treasurer of Local 218 United Shoe Association. Yvonne was a constable for the Middlesex and Essex County. She was also a member and officer of many different organizations, such as the Polish American Veterans Auxiliary, the Lowell Democratic Committee, of which she was vice chair, the St. Louis Parish Veterans Auxiliary, of which she was president and vice president, as well as being an active member of the board of directors and parish committees. She is predeceased by 7 of her sisters and her 9 brothers. We offer our deepest sympathy to her family, her relatives, and her many, many friends. She was a remarkable lady that loved politics. She will be truly missed. And I'd like to offer a moment of silence in dock and chamber for the former state senator, city councilor, clerk magistrate, and humanitarian Daniel P. Leahy, ESQ, a lifelong Lowell resident and beloved husband of Gloria J. Saccarelli Leahy, and with whom he celebrated 57 years of marriage on this past June 6th. Mr. Leahy attended St. Margaret's Grammar School and was a graduate of Keith Academy in the class of 1952. Following his honorable discharge from the armed forces, he then went on to graduate from Boston College with the class of 1960 in Suffolk Law School. A veteran during the Korean conflict, Dan proudly served his country in the United States Army. Dan was a retired local attorney. He served in the Massachusetts General Court as a Massachusetts state senator for 2 terms. Dan was also a member of the Lowell City Council, elected in 1999, and I had the honor and privilege to serve with him. After leaving the City Council, Dan was a clerk magistrate in Charlestown, Massachusetts. Dan was active in many clubs and boards and served as president of the Lowell Bar Association, a board member of Ironstone Farms, Challenge Unlimited. He is perhaps best known as founder of Thanksgiving, a celebration of life, which he began in Lowell with his brother-in-law, Al Lindsay, to aid the ministry of Father Gregory Ramkisson in Kingston, Jamaica, helping to feed, clothe, and shelter poor children. Helping the poor was a cause close to his heart and an intrinsic dimension of his Christian faith. A loving husband, father, and grandfather, Dan is survived by his 2 daughters, Kathleen Ramirez, Linda Knahovsky, his 3 sons, Daniel P. Leahy II, John J. Leahy, our colleague on the Lowell City Council, and Mark Leahy, and his 11 grandchildren. He was also the father of the late Francis X. Leahy, who died in 1965. We offer our deepest sympathy to his family, his relatives, and his many, many friends. He was a true gentleman, and he will be truly missed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Next order of business is a communication that came into the mayor's office from Ty Chum regarding a drug addiction awareness event to be held at the Pavilion on August 27, 2016. Mr. Chum is with us this evening and would like to make a few remarks. Mr. Chum.
Good evening, everybody. I'm bad at public speaking, but I just want to say thank you for having me here. I see there's a big problem in Lowell, and that's one of them is drug addiction, and I'm trying to do this as an individual. I'm not going through any agency or anything. Just me and my wife, and we try to. Because when we go, just a little story, I'm sorry, it's taking too much time. When we go to Hanford, I see this woman, she walk in, right, and she looks like she's on something, we don't know, maybe she has some health problem, but when she walk out, she's dizzy, stuff, and she's just sat there, and you could smell all this stuff from her, it's like drugs, from what I see, and then when I go to another place, I see it, and then it's like, what we're trying to do with this event is trying to break the stigma. We realize there's a problem with drug addiction, but no one really want to freely talk about drugs. Like, hey, where can I get help? Hey, my mom, my niece, my nephew, or whatever it is, they're having a problem. We don't really openly, freely talk about it. It's like we try to hide it. So what this event is all about is like gathering everybody, the community, not just Lowell, Drake, anybody surrounding area. Doesn't matter where you come from. You could come from California or anywhere else, just to come over here, talk about it. There's a lot of help. During my journey, there's like a lot of agencies like Lowell Housing, Recovery Life, Rita, she referred me over here, and people that want to help. As an individual, I walk it and I fail. There's a team failing. Everything failed for me, but in the end of the day, I want to make this happen for the community to be like, hey, there's a problem. Let's address it. Let's talk freely about it. And I'm here because I'm nervous. But at the end of the day, I want to invite everybody, the city council, mayor, everybody here, to be a part of it. It's a special event. There's a lot of people that lose life, and I hear a story, and it touched a lot of people. It touched a lot of souls. So I want to formally invite everybody to be there on August 27. It's this coming Saturday. I'm sorry, it's a short notice, but it's my first time doing this, and I want to keep it up. I want this to be like ongoing, just like the water festival. This should be something like that. It starts from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's a free event. We're gonna cater to like the family. There's glitter, face paints, a performance. It's free. Just all we want is everybody to be there and talk freely about these. That's the problem. And the Lowell Police Department, they're working the way. They're helping this thing out. There's a program. They're just going for 6 months. It's a COP program. I think Sergeant William Taylor or Kevin. He's part of it also. He referred me, to talk about it, and we're uniting together. And I didn't know that there's so much resource in Lowell to have this going. When I was trying to find Google and try to understand, where you go if you need help, I couldn't find any. I see Lowell's How Inc., but I couldn't find like the main resource, like where you go if you don't have transportation. Because when you're poor, you don't know where to go. When you're a kid, you see your parents using drugs and all that stuff. Where do you go for help? I mean, there's a lot of program that's going to be there. There's a lot of agencies going to be that's helping out the community. So this is what I'm trying to break it, and breaking the taboo is one other thing. It's called Fighting Addiction, and please be there. We would love you guys to be there, everybody, as many people as you can.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any further
At the
discussion?
Sampus Pavilion.
Yes,
Sampus Pavilion.
Yes, that was brilliant.
I don't think he said that, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Chair will entertain a motion to accept the communication, place it on file. We have a motion to that effect by Council Mercy, second by Council Rourke. Discussion on the motion. All in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next, under the city clerk, are the minutes of the city council meeting of August 9th for acceptance. Do we have a motion to accept? We have a motion to accept by Council Rourke, second by Council Samaras. Discussion. All in favor, all opposed, so voted. Being before 7 o'clock, we'll skip ahead to the public hearings and go to communications from the city manager. We have communications A through F. And A is a data from the Middlesex County Sheriff's Office. Any discussion on item A? If not, we'll move on to item B, is the multimodal transportation. Council Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to thank Planning and Development for one very informative motion response on this multimodal form of transportation here at Gallagher Terminal. It's all-inclusive. The statistics are just unbelievable. The amount of commuters that come in and out of the city per day, Very, very informative. So I want to say great job by planning and development. But with that being said, I would like to refer to the Transportation Subcommittee for implementation, because the Gallagher Terminal is about to undergo a $2 million renovation in the spring. And we have all the facts and figures here saying that it's necessary and achievable, but we need to implement it. So that's my goal, Mr. Mayor, so thank you very much.
Okay, we have a motion by Counsel Belanger to refer item B to the Transportation Subcommittee, seconded by Counsel Leary. Discussion on the motion. All in favor? All opposed? So voted. Moving on to item C is the Operation Triple Play. Any discussion on item C? Hearing none, we'll move on to item D, which is out-of-state plates. Any discussion on out-of-state plates? Counsel Mercia.
Yes, I know that the listeners at home, viewers at home, they don't get the information that we do, but this was very informative as well. In the past 18 months, the Lowell Police Department has issued 130 citations for vehicles with improper out-of-state registration. I thought I'd just make the public aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Counsel. Counsel Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to thank Superintendent Taylor for his response to the motion. And, Mr. Mayor, through you, I see the superintendent is here. I'd like to ask him a question. Now, this motion stems from, obviously, a number of complaints that I've received from mostly condominium complexes that are rather large, and they see New York plates. Some are residential as well. But it seems like we're very reliant on, not only police surveillance, but the residents in the neighborhoods, that it's, we'll count on them to report these plates if they see them for weeks and months on end, that if they could help us with that. It's impossible for the Lowell Police to monitor every vehicle in front of every home and every block in the city. That is a tall order. So it seems like that the chief is sort of asking, being a little reliant on calls from residents, Mr. Mayor. So I'd like to throw that to the chief. Through you. Thank you.
Chief.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor, to City Council. That's exactly correct, Councilor. Typically, the way we receive these complaints is from residents in the neighborhood who notice out-of-state plates in their neighborhood. And obviously, that's a concern for people in the neighborhood because their view is that people aren't paying the same insurance rates and taxes that they are. So typically, the complaints come into the police department. We delegate it to our traffic unit because there's a procedure that we have to follow where we have to track these vehicles for 30 days. At the conclusion of 30 days, we then have the ability to issue a complaint to district court. And then upon hearing the complaint, it's a $500 fine.
Counsel Belanger.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Chief Taylor. That was very informative, that, you can't just see it one day and they're going to get a citation, so it has to be monitored for a period of 30 days. So I think that was very informative for those at home, so thank you very much.
Okay, Counsel Elliott.
Thank you. Can I just follow up? Chief, that seems, so that's the law, 30 days, that's a Massachusetts statute? It's
That's
not
correct.
a local ordinance, right?
I'm sorry, say
It's
it again.
it's not a local ordinance.
No,
I
Councilor.
understand the process, but the perpetrators, the people that are registering their vehicles out of town, that's a consumption of enormous resources, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a database or a log or some tracking mechanism that the police officers can log into or access readily to that will identify the vehicles rather than okay, it's 2 weeks, the car moves to another place, because I think it's a significant problem. However, we do have other issues in the city that we have to address, and I think those that know they can get away with it, they know the process and they slip through the loopholes, and residents shouldn't have to call on a consistent basis. I guess it's a little frustrating because we have been dealing with this and listened to complaints for, I can say, I've been on the council for 19 years, and it's
Right.
almost, and I'm sure you as a police officer have heard those complaints as well. Is there a better way, I guess is my question.
I think unfortunately, Councilor, we are obligated to follow the procedure that is in place because we have to provide evidence to the court that we've tracked these vehicles for 30 days. Absent that, every time that a police officer runs a motor vehicle registration, there's an electronic audit now. So for example, if I was to run a plate tonight, I would immediately, in addition to getting the identifying information about that vehicle and the owner, I would also get immediately every time in the past several months that that vehicle was run all over the Commonwealth. So I would see that a police department in Boston ran it, or whatever it might be. So there is the availability of the officer to track that information. We also do have an internal database for all our citations, so we can go internally and determine if that vehicle has been a previous subject of a similar offense internally. So all the databases do sync up at some point. Unfortunately, this procedure is required by the court to be successfully prosecute these cases.
All right, well, I think that's a step, that clearly is a step that if there's a problem,
Right.
tenant or someone that's trying to skirt the law, you're going to catch up to them.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Thank you.
Counsel Leahy.
Thank you. Chief, if I could, I know it's like a daunting task keeping track of all these out-of-state plates, and I know that you've been working on it, and we've brought it up, and as Councilor Elliott said, this isn't anything new. And this kind of ties in with a lot of other complaints that we hear at the neighborhood meetings about low riders and glass too dark and exhaust too loud. So along with trying to track out-of-state plates, you're doing all that other work also. And I'm sure there's other requirements with other situations.
Yes, Counselor, I think in a previous communication recently, we supplied data about the number of citations we've issued for a harsh and objectionable noise
Yeah.
in the city. I can look through my records here, but
Yeah.
I think it was a pretty
No, I remember
substantial
that
number.
report.
Right. So we do try, I can tell you, and echo the comments that you've made, in almost all of the community meetings that I go to, or I send my officers to, principally the most important concerns by residents are traffic and parking. And so that's a repetitive comment that we hear all the time. So we try and focus our attention on those two issues, and especially in some of the residential areas.
Yeah, and I see it, I see the cars out there and I see the men and women working and, as I said, it's not an easy task. Some of the complaints we hear are the low riders where they're all over the road because they don't want to hit the ruts and the light, the windows are too dark, which is probably not a good situation for officers out on the road because
No.
you can't see when
Right.
you're going up to the cars. So, but, we appreciate it. I know it's ongoing and you're working hard on it. So thank you for listening to the concerns.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further? Counsel Malinowski.
Just quickly, thank you, Mayor. It's amazing, over 18 months, 130 citations were actually issued, because we had talked about this years ago, and a now retired police officer, and not the former chief, indicated to me that there just wasn't the manpower to
Right.
actually do it according to the regulations. So congratulations to the police department for doing that. My question is, if you come across a plate, say a New Hampshire plate, the car is garaged in Lowell, do you immediately run the plate to see if it's registered to a business in New Hampshire, and it just happens to be garaged in the city of Lowell? Because I know,
Right.
for instance, where that is actually the case, there's a business in New
Right.
Hampshire.
There are some exemptions, and then sometimes we also get explanations from people, and you have to be sensitive to
Right.
this. There's a certain amount of discretion built in
Okay.
on the officer's part. One case recently where a daughter was caring for an elderly parent in the city. And so obviously, there are going to be those situations that require some discretion.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any further discussion on item D? Thank you, Chief. Moving on to item E is the Lowell Police Department 2015 Annual Report. Any discussion on item E? Hearing none, we'll move on to item F, which is the National Incident-Based Reporting System report for May of 2016. Any discussion on that item, on item F? Counsel Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to take more of the comment than anything to compliment the superintendent and the men and women of the Lowell Police. crime and gun-related incidents are going down dramatically in this city. We are trending in the right direction, and I think the police just ought to be commended publicly, which I'd like to say thank you for all their hard work. These numbers are trending in the right direction, and let's continue to make that happen in any way necessary. But it's very, very comforting to see these numbers and to know that the city is trending in the right direction regarding crime, gunshots, gun-related crimes, all decreasing at a very good clip. So I think it's great news. Chief, congratulations to you and your department, and I commend all the men and women of Lowell Police. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Counselor. Any further discussion? That concludes the communications from the city manager. Chair would entertain a motion to accept the communications, place them on file. We have a motion to that effect by Counselor Milonazo, seconded by Counselor Samaras. Discussion, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. Being shortly after 7 o'clock, we'll go to the public hearings. The first public hearing of the evening is a ordinance amendment for zoning by including regulations of manufactured mobile homes in the city of Lowell. We'll open up the hearing for those who wish to speak in favor. Is there anybody who wishes to speak in favor?
Hi, Deb Forgione, Pawtucketville Citizen Council. Pawtucketville Citizen Council does support this amendment, but I also wanted to take the opportunity to thank the City Council for thinking it was important enough to send it to a subcommittee, that the City Council subcommittee thought it important enough that we had 3 full meetings on the change of the ordinance so that it was clear and it was clarified exactly what the purpose was and what the total purpose of the amendment is. And thank the City Council for thinking it important enough to send it to the Planning Board, and then thank the Planning Board for thinking is it important enough to approve and support the amendment. So I want to thank you very much for the consideration and the fact that it is important, and we really appreciate that. And we hope tonight that the City Council does vote on the amendment change. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, we'll close the hearing. On behalf of the proponents, open it up to those who wish to speak in opposition. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? In opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the hearing on behalf of the opponents and open it up to the City Council. I would bring to the Council's attention that there is a communication from the Planning Board that should also be taken up at the same time with a motion. Is there a motion to approve by Council Milonazo, seconded by Council Belanger? Discussion on the motion. Council Milonazo.
Thank you. I'd just like to follow up on Deb's comments about the fact that we did have 3 subcommittee meetings, and I'd like to certainly thank their work on behalf of this ordinance amendment, but to also recognize and thank Eric Slagle and his team as well. It was difficult, as John Hamlet indicated, that it's very rare that they would go against a recommendation from Eric Slagle, and I think it was a 99.9% concurrence over the years with Eric. But in this particular case, based upon just a simple definition change, we find ourselves with this ordinance tonight, which obviously has been recommended for approval by the Planning Board, and this council chose to send this particular ordinance to public hearing. So again, I'd just like to recognize and thank those involved over the 3 or 4 zoning subcommittee meetings, and I plan to vote in support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I plan on supporting this ordinance change, but I just have a question, and I don't know who's here that could answer it. Is a manufactured house, is it bolted to the foundation, or is it just placed on there? In other words, once a manufactured home is in place, can it be moved, or can it not be removed? I just want to know that. Somebody can answer that? Maybe Deb could answer it.
Yes.
A manufactured home and a mobile home are on chassis. So the intent is it can be on a permanent foundation, meaning permanent where you can tie it down under the HUD requirements. But then again, you can put the wheels back on and it can be moved. unlike a structured house. In other words, I can't put wheels on your house in Belvedere and move it like you can with a manufactured mobile home. You will always be able to move a mobile or manufactured home. And because when you put it on a foundation, it's not built the same way, which means it has to have different homeowners insurance, because you can't get regular homeowners hazard insurance because it's not built under the building codes. It's built under HUD codes, which is totally different than the building codes. So, and it's not on a regular foundation where it's stick built. So it's, you can tie it, you can rope it, you can.
But you don't bolt it.
You could bolt it if you put a beam under it, but then that's what the chassis is for. You could bolt the chassis to pilings. You could, but then you have to put a skirt around it because it's off the ground.
Yeah, that's frightening to me to know that you have a house on a foundation, but yet it isn't bolted down so that anybody that's plowing around the property or whatever, and it hits the house, it could probably slide off or move, and that to me is
That was
very
the
dangerous.
reason we were trying to make sure that that ordinance was amended, because in a flood zone, that's
Yeah.
going to happen.
There you go. So
Thank you.
thank you very much for your hard work as well.
Anything further, Counselor? Counselor Mercia, you all?
No,
you
no, I'm all
set?
set. Thank
All right,
you.
Any further discussion on this? So the motion before the council is to approve the zoning amendment and to accept and place on file the communication from the planning board, which is item 5.3 on the agenda.
Approval.
Roll call?
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Leary.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo.
Yes.
Counsel Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Samaras.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
9 yeas.
The next public hearing is from National Grid Verizon New England requesting the installation of a pole and anchor located at 691 Stevens Street. We'll open up the hearing for those who wish to speak in favor. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor?
How are we doing tonight? My name's Joe Antilli. I'm from National Grid. I'm here to speak in favor of the petition and to answer any questions that the council might have. Move to approve.
Refer to the one.
Refer the wire inspector.
The proper motion would be to refer to the wire inspector for report and recommendation. Counselor Elliott, that's okay? Okay, any discussion? Roll call.
Your
No roll
Honor.
call. All in favor?
Could I
All
just-
opposed?
Your Honor.
So voted.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Sorry. I'm just gonna vote against this one because I've been waiting for some poles up on Mariner Street and Fruit Street to be changed out for 3 or 4 years now. So just because I haven't seen any progress up there for this one, I'm just gonna vote against it.
Okay, let's have a roll call then.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
No.
Counsel Leary.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo.
Yes.
Counsel Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Samaras.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
8 yeas.
That concludes the public hearings for this evening. The next item is a communication from the city manager to reappoint Thomas O'Brien and Beverly Anthus to the Election Commission. We have a motion to approve by Counsel Leary, seconded by Counsel Mercia. Discussion? Roll call.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Leary.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo.
Yes.
Counsel Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Samaras.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Next, we have a communication from the city manager requesting out-of-state travel for 3 members of the Lowell Police Department and 2 members of the Department of Public Works, and 1 member from the Water Department, 1 member from the library, and 1 member from the Career Center. We have a motion to approve?
A motion to take them all together, Mr. Mayor?
Motion. They are all together. So
Oh, well,
motion to approve.
yes.
We have a motion approved by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Samaras. Discussion on the motion? Roll call.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Leary.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo.
Yes.
Counsel Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Samaras.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Next is a vote to accept a gift from the Friends of Lowell Council on Aging for a 2016 Chevrolet Express van. There's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading and go to the second reading, authorizing the city manager on behalf of the city of Lowell to accept a gift from the Friends of the Lowell Council on Aging of a 2016 Chevrolet Express 2500 van vehicle.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve, motion approved by Council Elliott, seconded by Councilor Rourke. Discussion, roll call.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Council Leahy.
Yes.
Council Leary.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Council Mercia.
Council Milonazo.
Yes.
Council Rourke.
Yes.
Council Samaras.
Yes.
Council Belanger. Council Elliott.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Next, we have a vote to execute a temporary construction easement with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to facilitate the construction of a new Lowell trial court at 370 Jackson Street. If there's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading and go to the second reading, authorizing the city manager to execute a temporary construction easement with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to facilitate the construction of the new Lowell trial court at 370 Jackson Street. Motion to approve by Council Milonazo, seconded by Council Samaras. Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Council Leahy.
Yes.
Council Leary.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Milonazo.
Yes.
Council Rourke.
Abstain.
Council Samaras.
Yes.
Council Belanger.
Yes.
Council Elliott.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Next, we have orders from the city manager for various 60-day trials. If there's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading and go to the second reading pursuant to Chapter 266 of the Code of Ordinances in the City of Lowell, Massachusetts concerning Section 266-6 thereof entitled Temporary Experimental Regulations. Temporary traffic regulations are hereby implemented for a period of 60 days. Chair will entertain a motion to approve. We have a motion to approve by Council Rourke, seconded by Council Milonazo. Discussion, roll call.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Council Leahy.
Yes.
Council Leary.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Milonazo.
Yes.
Council Rourke.
Yes.
Council Samaras. Council Belanger.
Yes.
Council Elliott.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Next, we have an ordinance to create a new section 167-7 entitled Mobile Food Vendors. If there's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading and refer to a public hearing for September 12th, 2016 at 7 p.m. We have a motion to that effect from Council Milonazo, seconded by Council Rourke. Discussion, all in favor, all opposed, so
Ma'am.
voted. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I did have a question. For clarification through you, I see Mr. Rossetti's here from the Law Department. Just get a little clarification on sidewalks, these sidewalk carts, comparing to the Central Business District, because there's one that operates, and I think it's a good thing that he's on the sidewalk, but how's it compare? Are they allowed on the sidewalks in the Central Business District as compared to the residential neighborhoods? I'd just like a little clarification if I could.
Attorney Rossetti.
Counselor, thank you very much for your question. We will look into that immediately for you and follow up with you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Council Mercia.
would the next city council meeting be September 13th? Not the 12th, right?
Yes.
Okay.
My agenda says, what I've got here says the 12th, but you're right, it's the 13th. All right.
It's going to be a 3-week. I thought you guys want to get back a little early.
All right, all in favor of the motion, all opposed, so voted. Next is an ordinance to create 2 full-time granted funded positions. There's a financial assistant and assistant career center manager and established salaries in the career center division of the manager's office. If there's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading and refer this to a public hearing for September the 13th, 2016 at 7 p.m. as well. We have a motion to that effect by Council Milonazo, second by Council Leary. Discussion, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next is an ordinance to create 1 full-time granted funded position entitled MOAPC Coalition Coordinator and establishing the salary and deleting 2 positions and salaries entitled Outreach Workers in the Health and Human Services Department. If there's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading and the motion would be to refer this to a public hearing for September 13th at 7 p.m. as well. We have a motion to that effect by Council Belanger, seconded by Council Leary. Discussion on the motion, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next, we have subcommittee reports. We have one subcommittee report from the Economic Development Subcommittee of a meeting that was held on August 23rd, 2016. Council Samaras.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. It was a great night tonight to hear some of the things that are going on in Lowell. The first part of the night was a presentation by Paul Marion and Fred Faust. They have been volunteering to work on the Lowell Waterways Vitality Project, a project which was started in February, in which every city councilor did show up to and has been supportive of. So what they were talking about is this, on September 1st, will be the first Thursday night, the last first Thursday night for this coming year. It will have activities, art shows, food trucks, music, and many other activities through the night. But also, there'll be a demonstration of the Lowell Waterways Vitality Project, and it'll be kicked off, and it was originally kicked off in February by the city manager in preparation for the Winterfest. But they're going to light up some of the canals and many of the buildings in downtown Lowell, so we'll give our citizens an opportunity to see what can happen in this city. And I think it's a project that will eventually really help the quality of life in this city and make Lowell a downtown that many people will want to visit because of the lighting of the canals and some of the buildings. When we talk about the canals, we've talked about, well, I know they've talked about the use of the canals for many, many years. And this is the first time I see such activity in the city and so many people volunteering to be part of this project that I know it will be a success. So on September 1st, we're all invited to the university building in downtown at the Hamilton Mills project to kick off the lighting of the swamp locks. So it's going to be quite the night. Also, after that presentation was a presentation from Andrew Ma from Cross Point and from Chris Todd from Kronos. And this was important that they made a presentation tonight to make our constituents aware of actually what is going on in those buildings. When you look at Cross Point, Andrew Ma talked about spending $118 million for the 3 Wang Towers. If everybody recalls, the original investors of the Wang Towers invested $500,000. And I believe it was about 10 years later, sold the building for $118 million. Why they did sell the building was they knew they had to make far more investments in it to become successful, and it was better for them to sell it to a company that had the ability to do that. When Andrew Marr, his senior partner, and his company came in, they had 2 approaches. One was branding, and they wanted to ensure that the change from Cross Point, Wang Towers to Cross Point was clear, and how much money they would spend on the capital infrastructure. And it was quite an adventure. The first 90 days, they just focused on campus design. They spent about $10 million just on the idea of campus design, then spent $65 million in improvement. And basically, I wish we had it right now to show on the TV, but they talked about the branding, they talked about identifying the various buildings, and they talked about the trucks and buses they used, that they even changed those so it fit a campus design. But they have changed many of the rooms in the building, and they've added many amenities. They've added the restaurant, tavern in the square, which is so successful. I mean, it's kind of hard to get in on a Friday night, or actually any night. They enhanced the cafeterias for the people that work there. They built a gym, a first-class gym with some of the best equipment in the Merrimack Valley, but they also included ping pong tables, shuffleboard. In other words, a place for their people to relax and to enjoy. So Andrew Ma continued to show and demonstrate what changes that they made. They eventually leased over 794,000 square feet. What Andrew Marr said, when they bought the building, it was 53% occupied. Now it's 91% occupied. And basically what that states is there's no more space left to rent. That extra 9% is needed for the companies that are already there. They talked about the companies that are there, like Kronos, Verizon, Jabra, Aris, Interact, Captivate, Little Sprouts, and they talked about the projects that they have there that also include the neighborhood. So when you talk about Little Sprouts, they have, I believe, over 225 children that go there, attend there. There are many of the people who work in the town leave their children there, but also members of the people that live in the neighborhood are able to do the same thing. So it's been quite successful. Chris Todd from Kronos had much to say, and it was important to understand why they came to Lowell. Their program, their main software is the workforce management system software. They have over 1,400 people that are presently working for Kronos. They have over 30,000 clients. They have 35 million people that are affected by their equipment or their software. Before they came to Lowell, they actually looked at Boston, and they looked at many other areas that were available to them. But Lowell had many of the amenities that they were looking for. They had the inventory. The inventory was Cross Point, and it was Cross Point that was changed from the Wang Tower presentation. It went from, we'll say, a standard building to a building with many fine amenities. So between the university, what Cross Point had to offer, and what they felt was the entrepreneurial spirit that was in Lowell that brought them here. And also many of the people that worked for them that come from Lowell were also advocates for them coming into Lowell. So they were a company that had many options, and they chose to come to Lowell. And they're very happy on the decision that they've made. They talked, for example, of the type of cooperation that they have. When they were in Chelmsford in a three-building unit, they owned their own parking lot. And when they wanted to have the company picnic, they could close the parking lot to have the company picnic. But here now at Cross Point, they don't own the entire parking lot, and they just can't close the parking lot for other companies that inhabit the Cross Point area. But immediately the university said, in the summer, we have many places available to you. We'll help you with the buses, and we'll get your people there. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about coming into a city that, again, has the entrepreneurial spirit, a city manager that worked with them, planning department that worked with them, the ordinance, all the departments in the city that were required to work with them. They found more cooperation in this city than they can say any other place that they have ventured to go. So it was a successful meeting. We've asked that they come back again to give us an update and a presentation. But it was a positive meeting to show that the efforts that were made to bring Kronos here and also to help Cross Point update their building have proved to be quite fruitful for the city, and it bodes well for our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Leary.
Just quick, Andrew Marr and his company, the innovation of what they did to Cross Point, living in that area, just coming off the connector, seeing it lit up, just the way they've changed that whole infrastructure just on Chelmsford Street is amazing. It's not major fixes in terms of what they did, but the way it looks now is such a great improvement. Having my kid, actually the aforementioned Little Sprouts, gone there for 3 years, dropping my kid off, going into it, it was like going into a big box. Now, looking at the changes that they've made, it's a massive improvement. And I think that's part of the start of the subcommittee was about lighting up the canals and really taking some innovation of the technology today and making it more appeasing to people. I think the word we try to use now is atmosphere, and I think the atmosphere now in the city going forward, and especially with Kronos coming to town, is very, very positive. There's obviously challenges with it. I think we need to really start working on Chelmsford Street, really making that more of an easier access in and out of the city and into downtown, especially when Maycom starts their corporate headquarters. That's going to be significant. I think that going in the long run, though, it's very positive. Today's meeting was very good. I think, again, Andrew Marr and what they've done on Crosspoint is amazing. It's very positive. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? Councilor Elliott.
Yeah, I guess what was most striking is the fact that they came to Lowell, and perhaps Andrew's closing comment that of all of the communities, large cities that they do business with, Lowell was the most pro-development, pro-business, good atmosphere working with City Hall. And I thought that was significant. And I'm sure the manager is probably streaming this meeting somewhere, wherever he is at. But I think it's important for us to let him know that, and the administration knows that what he says is being reflected by the businesses. And secondly, what I learned is that there's this growing interconnectivity, if you will, between certainly the university and the city, but between the university, the city, and businesses and companies in the city, and we all benefit from the progress and success. And I think that was what was mentioned from Kronos. That's why they came, and it's important to keep that in mind moving forward as we try to get other businesses to locate here in the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Samaras.
Just want to state that my subcommittee, Councilor Milanazzo and Councilor Leary were present, as well as the rest of the city council. All members were present to this. But I want to, when Fred Faust and Paul Marion spoke, they talked about the amenities in the city, and then Kronos spoke about the rich amenities that are available at Cross Point. And that was part of the discussion. Part of the discussion was what was available in the city and the attitude. And it even came into the political climate in the city. Andrew Marr stated that this was politically one of the best climates that he has come into, but the climate was enhanced by the mere fact that all the departments in the city of Lowell were working towards their success. And the way they look at their success is our success. And so it was reassuring to hear statements like that, because they weren't required to do that in any way. I mean, we were just asking them what did they see that was to their advantage, and how can we, as a group, enhance their success further. And they just spoke to just keep doing what we're doing. So I was pleased with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Mercia.
And then to add to that, just finally say that he gave accolades to everybody, saying that this city was second to none with being business friendly. So we're very, very lucky to have people as we do, and he named them, and he said Allison Lamy, Diane Trad, Maria Dickinson, and our inspectional service department with David Willett and Sean Shanahan. So thank you very much for the job that you do to make us look good. Thank you so much.
Any further discussion? If not, Chair would entertain a motion to accept the report of the subcommittee as a report of progress. We have that motion from Councilor Milanazzo, seconded by Councilor Samaras. Discussion, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next, under petitions, we have 2 property claims and 1 personal injury claim. Chair would entertain a motion to refer it to the Law Department for report and recommendation. We have a motion to that effect from Councilor Samaras, seconded by Councilor Leahy. Discussion, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next, we have, under miscellaneous, we have a request for the installation of a handicap parking sign at 4 Ware Street. Motion would be to refer to the traffic engineer for a report and recommendation. We have a motion by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Belanger, to send it to the traffic engineer for report and recommendation. Discussion, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next is a request for the installation of a handicap parking sign at 43 Avenue A. Chair would entertain a motion to refer to the traffic engineer for a report and recommendation from Council Samaras, seconded by Council Milonazo. Discussion on the motion. All in favor, all opposed. So voted. Moving on, we have city council motions, where there are just 3 motions this evening. The first is a motion by Council Leahy requesting that the city manager have inspectional services review permitting fees to ensure that they are comparable to surrounding communities. Second by Council Elliott. Council Leahy.
Thank you. This motion just, we're just looking for an update to make sure that we have competitive rates with surrounding communities. So it's not intended to look at it to raise all fees, but just to make sure that fees are comparable to other communities. This was brought up because, just for example, our demolition rates might be a lot lower than surrounding communities, so it's a good exercise to take a look at all the rates and make sure that we're competitive. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, all opposed, so voted. The next motion of the evening is also a motion by Council Leary. Request that the city manager provide a report to the city council outlining the status of the new firearms licensing policy since its implementation from February 11, 2016 to today. The report should include the number of firearm licenses to carry requests made and how many have been approved. Seconded by Councilor Mercy. Councilor Leary.
Just quickly, it speaks for itself. Made a change in middle of February. Just like to see what the results are as of today. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, all opposed, so voted. The last motion of the evening is a motion by Councilor Leary. Request that the city manager have the appropriate city department review the vacant property located between 110 and 119 Chelmsford Street for pickup of trash and appropriate site management. Seconded by Councilor Leahy. Councilor Leary.
Again, it speaks for itself. If you drive by, the lawn's like, taller than I'm tall, and it's full of trash, so it's unsightly. It's on 110, so it shouldn't be the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, all opposed, so voted. That concludes the regular agenda. Now we go on to announcements. Councilor Leahy.
Thank you. I just want to let my colleagues know and the viewing audience that this Sunday, a group of young people that have organized a peace march called Come Together. It's going to start at City Hall at 12 o'clock, and it's a peace walk up to the Sampras Pavilion, which they will have hopefully some music, open mic for people to speak out against all this crazy violence that's been happening around the nation. So they've been working hard for the last couple of months to organize this. They're hoping to get, a good amount of people, anywhere from 200 to 1,000 people. They've been advertising it from here to Boston. So if you're available and you can come out, it's a good cause to support police, men and women throughout the nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. What's the date and time of that?
This Sunday, the 28th. Okay. This Sunday, the 28th, 12 o'clock starts here at the City Hall.
Okay, thank you. Any further announcements? Councilor Mercia.
Speaking of that walk from JFK Plaza to the Sampras Pavilion, they better have an ambulance. They're gonna, I might need one, but anyway, be that as it may. This Thursday, August 25th at 5 p.m., there will be a ribbon-cutting ceremony at 1857 Middlesex Street to introduce the opening of the new Lowell Collegiate Charter School. School Director Frederick Randall and Trustee President Kathleen McCarthy invite everyone down to their new Lowell Collegiate Charter School, 1857 Middlesex Street, Thursday, August 25th at 5 o'clock. And at Shed Park on September 3rd and 4th, there will be the 2016 African American outing. Everybody is welcome to attend. David Choate is the Black Festival Committee event coordinator. We have been many times this council, and it's really a wonderful time. And it's going on for 2 days, September 3rd and 4th. And the last thing I want to briefly say is on August 10th, I had an opportunity to go to the Lowell Memorial Auditorium to take part in the Dance for Peace. I didn't dance, I just sat there and watched them dance. But 7 Lowell police officers from the police department. They joined 111 teens on stage at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. They were performing in the 21st Annual Lowell Community Health Center Teen Block Dance for Peace. That was amazing. I didn't intend to stay very long, but boy, it was just spellbinding to see all the moves, and I didn't know the police could move like that either. They were dancing as well. So they had a great partnership there with the teens in our city. So I want to thank the Teen Block for inspiring everyone. Thanks to the Lowell Police Department for responding to and respecting our teens. And thanks to Superintendent Taylor for engaging with our community. It was a great partnership with 111 teens from Lowell High School, from Youth Build, from UTEC, from all over. The place was packed at the auditorium. It was a great night and a great partnership. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Counselor. Any additional announcements? If not, Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn. We have a motion to adjourn by Counselor Rourke, seconded by Counselor Samaras. All in favor, all opposed? Stand adjourned at 7:42.